This is RTP. This is RTP 180.
Hi, I'm excited to be here tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about exploring monkey blood. None of my slides should have that warning sign in front of them. Mine is cute little monkeys that you get to look at. So we'll start off light. Our project that I'm talking about is a part of a larger collaboration where we're working with multiple researchers studying a colony of rhesus macaques that live on an island off the coast of Puerto Rico. So why might we want to look at monkeys, you might ask? Well, they're cute for one reason, but also we learn a lot about ourselves by studying monkeys such as these, because we share 95% of our DNA in common. So we can learn a lot about ourselves by studying them. An example of that, how many of you know your blood type? So you know the positive, negative part of your blood type? It's called the Rh factor and was first identified in rhesus macaques. That's what the Rh comes from. So it's an example of something we've learned about ourselves by studying them. And part of this research that we're doing, we're looking at the behavior of these animals because they're very social animals. A lot like us, they form social networks, and their social networks look a little different than ours. This is an example where they're grooming each other. Well, hopefully that looks different from most of us. But so we're interested in our lab of looking at how their genetics may play a role in their behavior such as this. So if we see some individuals that are behaving a little less social or otherwise have unusual behaviors, we want to see if there's something in the genetics that might give an indication of why those differences might be. Another thing that we're interested in is, and also that may play a factor in their behavior, is their health. So I don't know about you, but when I'm sick, I tend to be a little grumpy and not really want to be around people, so it does affect my behavior. So we want to look at the same thing in these monkeys. We want to look at just get a baseline about their health, and we do it in the same way that we would do it with ourselves. When we go to the doctor, what do? They draw our blood. So that's where the blood comes in. So we're looking at getting just a snapshot about their health, and so we collect blood from them, take a little droplet of blood, smear it across a microscope slide, and then stain it so we can see the cells more clearly. We image these so that we can be looking at a screen instead of through a microscope. But we look so we can look at the different cell types, particularly looking at the red blood cells, platelets, and the white blood cells. And by looking at these different kind of blood cells and looking at the relative numbers of them, it can give us an indication of what might be going on in the health of this individual. So this is the same kind of thing that we have when our blood gets taken. And so in our project, we have a lot of these slides. And one of the benefits of working in a museum is we have a wonderful opportunity to work with our volunteers, to interact with them, and we get a lot of awesome volunteers in our lab. And so we had several that were starting to help us with this project, but we soon decided we kind of needed more help than the few we could get there because we ended up imaging. We have about 15,000 images of these blood slides to be analyzed. So we brought it to a broader community called the Zooniverse. And so Zooniverse is a citizen science platform where researchers can bring their projects and post about a project up there with activities where they're asking for help. Anyone can participate in Zooniverse. Any of you guys out there, if you have an interest, check it out, and you can help out with a lot of different kinds of research. For our project, this is our page, Monkey Health Explorer, where you can go on there and you can look at blood images, and we give you some training, so you don't have to already know how to do this. We give you guidelines on what you're looking for. And since we set this up about a year ago, we've had more than 1,700 people volunteer on our project alone. And we just recently reached an exciting milestone. Last week, we finished up the first set of images that we were for one particular project, which is about 6,000 images, which means at least 15 people looked at each of those images so we can feel confident about the counts. So it's a really exciting project, an opportunity to have all this larger pool of volunteers helping us with our research. But it's not only that. Zooniverse has an opportunity for a two-way interaction, so our volunteers can send messages to us through the platform, and we can respond, so we can get some nice conversations going. And it ends up several of our volunteers are trained cell technicians. So some of them started commenting when they noticed things that were unusual in the slides, so more than what we were asking for. For example, this image on the left is just one of several different kinds of irregular cells you might see. So these are just some red blood cells. See the ones that have little pointy edges? So these crenations can happen for a couple different diseases. And then another example here, these red blood cells, I say they kind of look like little chocolate chip cookies, but not that you want those. But the volunteer that pointed this one out mentioned that if this had been a human sample, they would have suspected this person might have lead poisoning or a parasitic infection. And so this is something we wouldn't have seen if we had only, say, run our blood through a cell counter and just done the counting and not gotten any of this interaction. So this has proved to be a wonderful expansion to our project, where now we're looking in more depth at these unusual observations of our images as well. So just a point of, basically showing how reaching out like this to a broader community about our research can benefit not only by sharing the cool research, but also we can gain a lot of information. So if you're interested, check out zooniverse.org. You can look us up, Monkey Health Explorer, or check out all the other projects on there. Thank you.